Hi guys, today I'm going to show you the recipe for my Bulgarian version of the Thanksgiving turkey, and it's not traditional because I always make it on Friday. On Thursday we have the traditional one, and on Friday I make my own Bulgarian version of the Thanksgiving turkey. And here is what you're going to need. You will need your 20-pound Butterball turkey. This is the one I always cook. You will need the pan for the turkey, oven bag for the turkey as well, 2 pans that you can cook in at the same time, 5 large onions, a bunch of parsley, and a bunch of dill that is about 4 times the size of the bunch of parsley, 2 bags of sauerkraut, bacon, fresh green beans, fresh mushrooms, sunflower oil, salt, and I always use Himalayan salt, sweet red paprika, grounded black pepper, and 4 sticks of butter. I would assume each one of these is the equivalent of about 1 stick of butter. And 2 cups of uncooked rice. Let's begin. And the first thing I'm going to do before I start cooking anything, I'm going to wash the turkey and take everything that is inside the turkey. Don't forget to take the stuff that is inside of it. Don't cook it with it, it's not stuffing. And a couple of things about the turkey. So there was stuff inside the turkey this way, and there was stuff in the neck cavity, so make sure to check both ways and that you haven't left anything inside the turkey. And also on the side of the bag that the turkey was in, there is a baking chart, and I always go by the chart over here, and it works really well. So after you wash the turkey, set it aside, and here is the next step. And then in one of the pans, the one that you're going to be cooking your sauerkraut in, which will be this one, pour about 1/4 cup of sunflower oil. In the other pan, the one that you're going to cook the rice in, put 1 stick of butter and turn both burners and medium high. And while the oil is preheating and the butter is melting, we're going to chop our onions. And you will need to chop 2 onions for the sauerkraut, 2 onions for the rice, and leave 1 for the green beans. And I always chop my onions by hand because if I use any of my kitchen tools, they tend to lose a lot of their juices, and I don't like adding water or broth to my recipes, and I just kind of count on the liquid that comes out of the onions. And if I have to, I may add a little bit of water, but it's always a good idea to use the juices from your onions. After you're done chopping the onions, in both pans, for the one for the rice and the one for the sauerkraut, add generous amount of sweet paprika. And when I say generous amount, that's probably about 3 tablespoons. Then in both, add about, I would say maybe a teaspoon of black pepper. And I never measure salt with spoons, so what I call it, it's a pinch. So you do 1 pinch, 2 pinches, 3 pinches, and the same thing for the sauerkraut. 1, 2, 3. And once you've done this, stir both of them very well. And just keep mixing the ingredients together until the onions are evenly colored by the paprika. And then cover both. And while they're simmering, I'm gonna wash my mushrooms that I'm going to use for the rice. I'll be right back. After you're done washing the mushrooms, turn both the pan for the rice and the pan for the sauerkraut to medium-low. And start chopping your mushrooms, and I'll just do about 6 to 8 little chunks per mushroom. And if you don't like mushrooms, you can definitely go ahead and skip this step, or if you don't like these particular mushrooms, I would assume you can use whatever mushrooms you like. Close the lid and let it simmer on low. And while we're here, I'm gonna stir those a little bit as well. And while they're simmering, I'm gonna wash my sauerkraut. So I washed my sauerkraut and I drained as much of the liquid as I can, and now I'm gonna add the sauerkraut right in here and mix it with the onions and the rest of the ingredients, and keep the burner on medium-low. And you could never have too much paprika in sauerkraut. So I'm gonna add another, I would say about 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna let the sauerkraut simmer on medium-low. And in the meantime, I am going to wash the rice that I'm going to cook over here with the onions and the mushrooms. So ever since I put the onions in, everything has been cooking for about, I would say roughly 45 minutes. And I am going to add the rice, the mushrooms, and then I will add 2 cups of water. Mix everything well together, cover it, and turn the burner back to medium, from medium-low to medium. And let's check on the sauerkraut. It's doing good. And I'm gonna add some more paprika. Another couple of tablespoons. So that would be a total of about 7 tablespoons of paprika. Mix it again. Turn the burner up to medium from medium-low and cover it again. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to chop the dill and the parsley. Now here I took 1/3 of the dill and put it aside with that 1 onion and 1 stick of butter that I'm going to use later on for the green beans. And here we have the parsley, and I'm going to be using all the parsley for the rice. It's all done, and I'm going to add it to my rice. And as you can see, the rice is simmering pretty well, so I'm going to turn it back down to medium-low. And just take a note that I'm only putting parsley in the rice and not in the sauerkraut. And cover it again. And then I'm going to take the dill, the left dill, the 2/3 that we have left, and I'm going to take about half of it, that it's going to go for the rice, and then the other half I'm going to leave for the cabbage or the sauerkraut. And I'm using a lot of dill because it's my favorite herb, but you can definitely get away by using just half of this amount. And when we're done, we will add it to the rice. And mix everything together. And this time I'm gonna let it sit uncovered, and I'm gonna turn it back to medium. And I will slice the dill for the sauerkraut. And just like with the rice, you can use half of the amount of dill that I'm using. And add the dill to the sauerkraut. And mix it up. And then I'll turn it back to medium-low because it's pretty steamy right now. And I will let everything cook for another 20 minutes. And now the fun part, stuffing the turkey. And according to the chart that I told you about, so this turkey is 20 pounds. So according to the chart, for stuffed turkey, I have to bake it for 4.5 to 5 hours. And the oven has to be at 325 degrees. So I am going to start by preheating the oven to 325 degrees. So without turning the burner off, be very careful though because it's hot. I have the turkey on its chest or breast. We're gonna flip it over, however, for the baking, but in order to do this stuffing here in the neck cavity, I need it to be upside down. So I am going to start putting sauerkraut in here. And make sure not to fill it up all the way to the top and leave some loose skin so you can sew the cavity together. Alright, I don't think I can stuff anymore, so that's gonna be it. I'm gonna turn this burner down to low and cover it. And we're gonna do some seamstress work here. Alright, so I have my needle and my threads. Lift this one up, tuck it in, and then start sewing. Now that this is done, it's all stuffed with sauerkraut, I am going to carefully flip it over on its back. That is a big bird. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff the turkey on this end with the rice. I turned it on low, it's still on, but it is on low. And we're gonna start pouring rice in there. And the reason I'm putting the rice inside the turkey versus the neck cavity is because the rice is going to expand quite a bit. However, you can still pack it up pretty well because we're gonna sew it, so the rice is not going anywhere. Next, before I sew the turkey together, what I'm going to do is take my hand and separate the skin from the turkey. So once we have the skin separated from the breast, we're gonna add some butter there. And just start lining up little sticks of butter. And this is the equivalent of about 2 sticks of butter, so you basically have to put 1 stick of butter over each breast under the skin of the turkey. And we'll get back to the seamstress work. And make sure to penetrate the skin about ½ an inch away from the edge of the skin, because once the turkey starts baking, the skin is gonna start shrinking and stretching, and you don't want the cavity to open because then the rice is gonna start coming out from the turkey, since the rice will be expanding as well. Next, I'm gonna tie the legs of the turkey together. And before I put the turkey in the bag, I'm gonna sprinkle some salt all over it. And some paprika as well. And then I'm gonna take the leftover butter, break it into little pieces, and put it over here where the legs of the turkey are. Next, I'm gonna put it in an oven bag. And if you have someone to assist you while putting the turkey in a bag, that would be great, because it's a bit hard to do it yourself, and I probably messed up my sweater here, but it's not too bad, you can do it yourself. Next, after I put the turkey in a baking bag or oven bag, I'm gonna start adding bacon to it. And you could never have too much bacon here, so you can add as much as you want to. So I add some on the top of the turkey and then some around the legs as well. Next, I'm going to tie the bottom of the bag, and these bags, they come with these little zip ties. So I have the oven set up to 325 degrees, and I'm gonna cook the turkey for 4.5 hours. And it is sitting on the bottom rack and no more opening for 4.5 hours. And then to the leftover rice and sauerkraut, I added 1 cup of water to each and lowered the burners to low and simmered them for about an hour. And I like to have these leftovers because the stuffing that it's in the turkey, it's never enough for all the turkey that we have. And I just simmered them for an hour and then put them aside, put them in the refrigerator, and then I took them back out when we were ready to eat the turkey. So now that the sauerkraut and the rice are done, I'm gonna start cooking my green beans, and I'm gonna melt the last stick of butter and chop the last head of onion. Add 2 pinches of Himalayan salt, a tablespoon of sweet red paprika, and then mix it well until the onions are colored evenly with the paprika. Let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and while waiting, chop the rest of the dill. Then add the green beans, about a teaspoon of powdered garlic, and a teaspoon of black pepper. Mix everything well together, then add a cup of water, the rest of the dill, and then add another cup of water. Close the lid and let it simmer on low for another half an hour or so, or until your turkey is done. Take a look at this beauty. So now that our turkey is done, I'm gonna have to drain the juices by carefully cutting the corners of the bag. Be very careful because it's extremely hot. And then cut a small hole at the other end of the bag so the juices can drain in a pan. And you can use the juices to make your own gravy. However, I didn't have time, so I went with the store-bought. And carefully start peeling the bag, and peel the bacon too, because some of it will be stuck to the top of the bag. And again, it is very hot, so be careful, but make sure to save all of your bacon. And there she is in all of her glory. But wait until you see the stuffing. So next I'm gonna remove the stuffing from the neck cavity and then from inside the turkey, and these are gonna be my side dishes, and they're absolutely delicious. The rice is so tender and so creamy, and the sauerkraut gives the turkey this extra kick, this little sourness kick. I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up. And if you want to see more recipes like this, click on a little round picture of me, and that will subscribe you to my channel. It's free. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy holidays!